Raw was in Houston tonight. Last week we had Roman Reigns making his return at the end of the show. That was his first appearance since WrestleMania. So tonight, the episode was built around Roman Reigns addressing Paul Heyman. And actually coming into this show, they announced a lot. Like on paper, it looked like a pretty stacked lineup just in terms of what they told us about in advance. But that was really the big focal point. And they saved it for the very end. And we had a face-to-face with Roman Reigns on one side of the ring, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed on the other. And we had our first real conversation since WrestleMania between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. And Heyman dropped, it was very quick. It was very brief. He did mention to Roman that Seth Rollins is going to be gone for a very, very long time. Sure. I'm not buying it. Whether that means SummerSlam or a little bit later, I'm not buying it. But that was the Seth Rollins update. The only mention really of Seth Rollins that we had on the show tonight. But we had a back and forth between them. And honestly, you know what I enjoyed the most about that closing segment was the interaction between Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker. We got that for the first time tonight. And I thought the key line was when Braun Breaker stepped up to him and he said, "I'm the big dog now." That's going to be a big match. It's not going to happen at SummerSlam, even though we still have no official announcement about what the match is going to be. But by the time it was over, Jey Uso had come out to even the odds after they attacked Roman. It was yet again another setup for what you would think is going to be a tag team match for one of the two nights at SummerSlam. But Roman Reigns against Braun Breaker, really, that's the match that I want to see. That's the match that a lot of people are going to want to see. I don't know when we get it. I hope we don't have to wait until WrestleMania or something like that. But you could certainly save that match for another PLE. But that was my favorite part of the closing segment tonight. Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, you may remember right after WrestleMania. They put them together in kind of a random match on Monday Night Raw. And we didn't really get a finish. It's a very good match. Tonight was more of the same. That was not part of the lineup. For all the things they announced about Raw before the show came on the air tonight, that was not something they announced. And it was a match that they put together during the course of the show tonight. And they gave them time and they went out there. And what happened? They had a really good match. And then we got the finish. Now, you had to imagine that we weren't going to get a clean finish here, even though, you know, Io is the one who is going to SummerSlam in a championship match. Stephanie at this moment has no match at SummerSlam, but she did win that Battle Royal at Evolution. So she's going to get a world championship match. We just don't know yet against who. I mean, we know, but we'll know for sure once SummerSlam is over. But we had two of them in the ring tonight, and that was a very good match until it was marred by Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis, who don't even go here. They don't even go here. They're not even on the show. And they ruined it. They ruined the end of what was a very good match here tonight. AJ Styles and Dominik Mysterio. You know, AJ Styles had quite the night last night. He had an entire pay-per-view built around him. He is really the reason why TNA broke their all-time attendance record and had almost 8,000 people in the UBS Arena last night. And I was here covering Slammiversary. We go from that last night, making his TNA return and just like the returning conquering hero, right? The prodigal son returns. Tonight, he wore many hats here on this show. We got a lot of wardrobe changes from AJ Styles as he pursued Dominik Mysterio. We had this show-long storyline. Dom was doing everything he could to avoid being evaluated by medical because he was worried they would clear him. And AJ was just stalking him throughout the entire show. But now it is official. The two of them will meet for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. So that is a new match that was made official tonight. Yeah, I mentioned they were in Houston. And Houston's a big wrestling city. Always has been, you know, for decades. The crowd did not show much in the way of signs of life until we got to that Stephanie and Io match, which was closer to the 10 p.m. hour. That was very late in the show. That was right before the closing segment, in fact. And then they came alive, and then Rhea Ripley made an appearance, and holy shit, she got a Road Warrior pop. I mean, as close to a Road Warrior pop as somebody could get these days. That's what she got coming out there, this huge reaction. And all of a sudden, the crowd was alive. And then what happened? Roman Reigns came out and they reacted big. Jey Uso came out later and they reacted big. They reacted to the stars and they didn't react to anything else. This was a very quiet, very dead crowd for a good portion of the show tonight. Not a whole lot of enthusiasm there. 13,000 people they announced in that building tonight. 13,000 people, and you could have fooled me for most of it. It certainly didn't sound like it. Unless you're Roman Reigns or Rhea Ripley. Then it sounded like 20,000 people. This was not a bad show. It was not a bad show. Sheamus and Rusev also had a match on this show. I thought that was good. There was a women's tag team championship match that I thought was pretty good. Actually, both women's matches. Io and Stephanie was the better of the two. But both women's matches were good here. And a good closing segment. Plus, again, I got a kick out of the whole AJ Dom thing with all the wardrobe changes with AJ throughout the night. But they've got one Raw and 2 SmackDowns left. And then SummerSlam is here. And SummerSlam is 2 nights this year. So it quite literally is the biggest SummerSlam that they have ever done in the history of the show. A show that dates all the way back to 1988. And it's not as if they don't have a card that is mostly put together. They ran down the card late in the show. And it's, pretty full card. It's not done yet. They still need at least 2 or 3 more matches, maybe 4. But probably 2 or 3 to be added to the card. So we know most of the matches at this point, and some of the matches I'm sure are going to be very good. It still feels like it's missing something. And I think part of the problem, a very big part of the problem, is because there have been so many events. We went from Night of Champions right into Evolution, and you had Goldberg's retirement at Saturday night's main event. Now SummerSlam is here, and it just feels like there's just not enough time, to really heat up some of the matches that could really use some heating up right now. So despite the card being mostly full, it still feels like this show is missing something. But that's what they got left. One more episode of Raw. I didn't even mention Punk and Gunther. We'll get to that when we talk about the opening segment from tonight's show. You know who was not on the show tonight? Because she also doesn't go here? Tiffany Stratton. She is the WWE Women's Champion. She will be defending her title at SummerSlam against Jade Cargill, the Queen of the Ring. Tiffany Stratton was back in Queens tonight at Citi Field for the New York Mets game. Now, she was there a few months ago to throw out the first pitch, and she did not do a very good job of it. And right from around that time, the Mets went on a horrendous losing streak. And I attributed it to Tiffany Stratton. She just brought some bad vibes and energy, whatever it was. Well, she was back tonight. And she was back on the mound to throw the first pitch, but she was interrupted. They actually played her music. It was Nia Jax. And Nia Jax came out on the mound at Citi Field to confront Tiffany Stratton, and the two of them got into it. Mr. Met and Mrs. Met had to get in between them to separate them. Mr. Met is out there wearing a Randy Savage jacket. I don't think Tiffany actually ended up throwing out the first pitch, which is probably why the Mets won. They beat the Angels 7-5. So there you go. It was WWE night at Citi Field. It's WWE night here on this channel because this is your Raw on Netflix review. It is Monday, July 21st, 2025. I am the Solomonster. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. You know the drill. Get them on in. We will read them in just a little bit. Also, I want to remind everybody, many of you were with me last night. We had a big crowd last night, almost 1,600, for the TNA Slammiversary review. TNA's biggest show of the year, at least up to this point, at least until Bound for Glory. But it was their biggest audience in the history of the company in North America. They had 7,600 plus out on Long Island at the UBS Arena. And I watched the show and got the full review up. I actually had fun with most of the show, at least until we got to the main event. That wasn't so fun there at the end. But if you missed it and you were unaware, there's some new content that you can go check out when you're done here with this Raw review, which we are going to get into right now. Michael Cole, of course, at the beginning of the show, is narrating the backstage arrivals. They do this every week. They show people walking into the building. Very exciting. Who among us doesn't love people walking into the office, walking into their place of employment? So he's narrating the usual shots. And the last one is the Judgment Day arriving to the building. They get out of the SUV, and Dominik hands the key. He goes, well, I'm just going to valet park it. You guys go on. And he turns to hand the keys to the valet, and the valet is AJ Styles, dressed in his valet outfit. This would be a recurring theme throughout the night, where he would dress up in various ways. Whenever Dominik would turn around, there he was, because he wanted to make sure that he got cleared so that he could get his SummerSlam match. So this was the first. And I mean, talk about AJ. Again, that show was built around him last night to go from being, again, the hero at Slammiversary last night. And tonight, here he is. He's dressed up as a valet. It's quite the come down, quite the fall for AJ. CM Punk was out to the ring to officially open things up on Raw, coming off his gauntlet match win last Monday night. He will now wrestle Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. He said he had two goals when he came back to WWE. One was to main event WrestleMania, and the other one was to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Last week, he won a gauntlet match that made him the #1 contender. Gunther is one of the best wrestlers in the world. That's a shoot. He's looking forward to locking up with him, and he can't promise a win, but with the fans cheering him the way that they do, he will leave it all in the ring and give the fans everything that he has. Gunther was the Intercontinental Champion for 666 days. He's in the middle of his second reign now as World Heavyweight Champion, and he's only got 2 weeks to prepare for this beast. But then he realizes he's been preparing for this his entire life. So to Gunther and whatever fans he may have, understand he is not just any other wrestler. He is the best in the world. Okay. Gunther's music interrupts. He comes down to the ring. So we got ourselves a face-to-face. He goes to speak. He gets booed. So he stops. They gave him "You tapped out" chants. Because let's cut to the chase then, Punk. He didn't come out here to throw insults at him or create any kind of drama, but let him point out some similarities. They're both here for the same reason, he says. Not to make friends, but to make money and win championships. And at this point, the idiots in the crowd, the idiot contingent in Houston began the always illuminating "what" chant in the middle of this promo. Punk, he says, has a massive ego. So does he. But his ego is justified because unlike Punk's, it's not based on what the fans think. That's worthless. Says his ego is based on results. The best in the world is the man that holds the World Heavyweight Championship. He only focuses on what happens after the bell rings. And at SummerSlam, that bell will ring, and when it does, he's going to make him regret that he ever stepped into a pro wrestling ring. He is going to maul him. He is going to choke him out. He is going to drop him like a wet towel. And he's going to wake up staring at the lights, realizing that Gunther was right. He will never be a World Heavyweight Champion. He will never be the best in the world. But you know what? At least he's got these degenerates chanting for him for the rest of his life. So with that, Gunther dropped the microphone and they played him off. I guess we'll never know if Punk had a response to everything that Gunther said here because he never got the opportunity to respond. The production team decided this segment is over. And they played Gunther's music, and that was it. Punk just stared at him as he walked off. This was short. It was to the point. This was very basic stuff by CM Punk standards. This was definitely lacking in what I was hoping to get out of this. I wanted more of a back and forth between these two. I didn't want these guys to just come out here and just talk to each other. I was hoping we would get more of an interaction where they spoke with each other, and we didn't get that. The Punk promo is as basic as it gets. Like in terms of CM Punk coming out and cutting a promo, this is not what I think most people would want out of a CM Punk promo. So they did what they had to do, like the bare minimum here as far as what they had to do. This was the first real face-to-face meeting here between these two. We've got one more Raw left before SummerSlam, so not a whole lot of time to build this match. We only found out last week that Punk is the #1 contender, right, by virtue of him winning the gauntlet. I want more of a back and forth between them next week. They don't even have to physically touch. I don't need a pull-apart brawl. Just put them back in the ring and let them just verbally spar, back and forth, whatever it may be about. Maybe more of the same here, about who's the best in the world, whatever it is. One show left. I want more of an interaction between the two of them next week. Now we go backstage. Stephanie Vaquer was being interviewed when Naomi interrupted. To introduce herself, she also said her name, Stephanie's name, funny, because she didn't know how to properly say it. Naomi said that she and Vaquer would meet at Clash in Paris. And Vaquer said that would only happen if Naomi survived SummerSlam. Naomi said that she would, and then she mocked Vaquer before making her exit with her evil cartoon villain laugh. We then got Sheamus one-on-one against Rusev, our first official match here of the night. Sheamus went for the brogue kick right at the opening bell. Rusev avoided it. He headed out to the floor. Sheamus followed and fought with him on the floor. He ran Rusev into the barricade, rolled him back inside. Rusev caught Sheamus, though, coming back in with a kick. A little while later, Rusev clotheslined him over the top rope. Sheamus, though, hit him with 2 knee strikes that sent him to ringside. And Sheamus, the spot was that he was going to go up top and come flying off with something. Clothesline, double axe handle to the floor, whatever it was going to be. Sheamus climbs to the top rope. He's trying to balance himself, and he lets go of the rope, but then you could see he's falling back into the ring. So he just drops down to his feet. And everyone's confused at first, and Sheamus is like, in his brain, he's probably considering, like, okay, do we pivot to a different spot? Like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to go back up. So, because the momentum just carried him backwards. He fell off. So he climbed back up to the top. People popped, right? To give him some encouragement, they cheered for him. He went back to the top, and this time he came flying off with a clothesline and took Rusev down on the floor. So he gets up, and he's screaming into the camera, "Are you not entertained?" I was entertained by that spot. And then he's looking into the camera. He's going, phew. It's like, a little close there. He played it off all right. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Rusev grabs him and gives him a fallaway slam backwards onto the announce desk. That took us into the commercial break. So Sheamus came back as soon as they returned. But when he went for the brogue kick, Rusev caught him and hit a powerbomb for a 2 count. Rusev went for a thrust kick. Sheamus nailed him with a great knee strike for a near fall. Sheamus came off the top. Rusev caught him with a thrust kick, which was not nearly as great, also for a near fall. So Rusev applies the accolade. Doesn't have it on for very long. Sheamus got a rope break. Rusev boots him while Sheamus is looking up at him, asking for more. This is the same spot they did in their previous match. They had a match on Raw several weeks ago, so they did the spot again where Sheamus is like, "Is that all you got? Give me some more." So he did. Rusev rips the padding off the metal turnbuckle rod. Sheamus, though, bounces Rusev off of it instead. And as the referee is over there fixing the padding, which, of course, this is such an important thing to be doing right now as we're reaching the climactic moment of this match, Rusev grabs Sheamus's shillelagh. Before he's able to use it, though, Sheamus catches him with a brogue kick for the win. And he rocked him with this kick. It looked great on the slow-mo replay. The referee was still distracted, though. When Sheamus hit the kick, he covered him. And the referee was still in the corner adjusting the padding. So he had Rusev covered for a good 3 or 4 seconds even before the referee dropped down. So it was more like a 7 count. But I saw Rusev as soon as the referee counted 3, he got that shoulder up. He kicked it, got that shoulder up at 3.1 just to show he still had some life left in him. So that makes these two even now. They're at 1 win apiece in their recent matches. We're definitely going to get the rubber match, maybe with stipulations. And maybe they'll have one of those, what do they call it? The old-fashioned Irish Donnybrook match. It'll be some kind of stipulation match. Probably not at SummerSlam. It'll be a Raw match, but we should be getting that very soon. But this was good. This is a good match. Now we go backstage. El Grande Americano is being interviewed by Byron Saxton, who asks him, what are your goals in WWE? Americano spoke in Spanish until Dragon Lee showed up. He called him a fake. You can't say that. You can't use the F word in wrestling. It rubs people the wrong way. Calls him a fake, though. Says that he has insulted him and all the luchadors everywhere. Americano pie-faced Dragon Lee, and they started fighting until producers and referees came over to break them up. Now, Michael Cole, they went back to the announce desk. It was Michael Cole and Corey Graves again, by the way. Pat McAfee is done for now. Michael Cole delivers a plug for this new WWE Unreal show, which is kicking off not tomorrow, but next Tuesday on Netflix. It's this behind the scenes, like reality series, docu-series, whatever you want to call it, where they take you into the writer's room. They're pulling back the curtain as if the curtain hasn't been pulled back enough. They're going to pull it back even more. And so he's, doing a plug here for this show. And again, he says that this takes you into the writer's room. This is what he says. I'm watching the show, and he's doing a promo, and it's not his fault. He's just reading the slop that they gave him. But so I knew the show was coming, but I didn't realize, I guess, that they're going to be doing live promos for it on the actual show, talking about the writer's room. It just doesn't sit well with me. I'm sorry. I know it's a brave new world now, but this is not good. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But I'll tell you what's even better. He plugs the show, right? He says, let's take you to a sneak peek. And the sneak peek ends up being footage from backstage at the Royal Rumble from the gorilla position of Triple H when they brought Tozawa back. Oh shit, we need somebody to go out there. And he looks over and he sees I Show Speed. And he tells him, Speed, we need you. Go out there, right? It was just an angle. It was a fucking angle that they did on the show that led to the Braun Breaker spear, which was amazing. But it was a fucking wrestling angle. And that's it. And you see I Show Speed walk out there. That was the sneak peek. They showed this on Raw after the Rumble. And I'm like, you're trying to sell this as we're taking you into the writer's room. We're taking you behind the scenes to show you what really happens in WWE. And they show you a phony angle from the Royal Rumble. I'm like, this is how they're promoting this show? That's bizarre. What a stupid clip to use to hype up this show. I didn't really understand that. But yes, that show is premiering next week. I will at least watch the opening episode. We'll see if I stick with it. I will check it out. I don't quite know, especially after this, I don't quite know what to expect here. They showed us a fucking angle. Maybe they'll take us behind the scenes of how the angle came about. But I just thought this was very weird. In the back, Lyra Valkyria confronted Bayley, who was backstage taping up her wrists. Because these two, this was added late in the day, that it would be Bayley and Lyra challenging for the women's tag team titles on this show. Even though Bayley and Lyra have been at odds with each other. And Lyra just beat Bayley to become #1 contender for the IC title. But this match came out of nowhere. Bayley's taping up her wrists. Lyra walks in, and she's bewildered about what's going on here. And Bayley said, well, we're finally getting the match that we were supposed to get at WrestleMania. Because remember, Bayley got attacked. She wasn't on the WrestleMania card. That's when Becky took her place. Valkyria said she beat Bayley's ass last week and was focused on SummerSlam. And she was wondering what her game is here. What's going on here? And Bayley acted like everything's cool. I'll see you out there. We had a triple threat #1 contenders match for the World Tag Team titles. It was the former champs, the New Day. It was the Creed brothers, and it was the LWO. Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. 3 men in the ring at one time. Those are the rules. New Day had control during a commercial break that they quickly went to. Joaquin Wilde made I was going to say a hot tag. I mean, my God. From this point on, really until the Io and Stephanie match, there was nothing really hot about this show, if you were to listen to this Houston crowd. So I call it a hot tag. It really was. It was a hot tag. More like a lukewarm tag. But Wilde tagged in. Crowd barely reacted. But they started to get into his offense a little bit. But then Ivy Nile knocked him off the top rope. Dragon Lee tried to help by going after the Creeds, but he was attacked by El Grande Americano, who showed up at ringside, yanked him down off the apron. The Creeds got in Americano's face until Cruz del Toro wiped them all out with a corkscrew plancha off the top. In the ring, Kingston and Woods set up Wilde for their midnight hour finish. Wilde chucked Woods out of the ring and then caught Kingston with a schoolboy for the surprise win. And yes, it was a surprise win because the LWO doesn't win a fucking match on Raw. If they do, it's a surprise. So good for them. They actually won a match on it. And Karrion Kross, too. It was the night of surprises here. But the LWO now, they are the number one contenders for the World Tag Team titles. They didn't say when they were going to get their shot. I don't think it's going to be SummerSlam because apparently you're not allowed to do tag team title matches at SummerSlam. So it'll probably be a Raw match next week or the Monday after SummerSlam. But good for them. They never win anything, and they're not going to win this either, by the way. I'm fairly certain of that. Unless they were going to put the belts on them just to quickly transition them to another heel team. But I just can't see that happening. Now backstage, Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. They were all hanging out in the locker room. They were chatting it up. The Kabuki Warriors and the former women's world champion. Talking about all the championships they're going to win in the future. We're going to win the women's tag team titles. And Asuka says, you, Io, you're going to be the women's world champion again. She wishes Io luck against your friend, Rhea Ripley. Now, Asuka didn't say it with a smirk on her face or a sneer. It was an odd comment, though. And then she and Kairi left. And the look on Io's face is what really told the story here because she was like, she was a little confused. Like, what do you mean? Your friend Rhea Ripley. And I thought, ooh, oh, we're getting a tease here. Maybe a little jealousy brewing. Give me Asuka and Io coming out of SummerSlam. When Io fails to win back the championship, maybe it's a sign that we're going to get Asuka and Io, like in a proper feud, and we'll get a match between the two of them. So after Asuka and Kairi walk off, Stephanie Vaquer enters the room. And Stephanie points out that if Io wins the title at SummerSlam, that means it's going to be the two of them one-on-one at Clash in Paris for the championship. Io says that she had Stephanie beat the last time they faced off and suggests we don't need to wait until Paris. We could do it right here tonight in Houston. And you could hear inside the arena, everybody popped. They loved that. They were down for a Stephanie Vaquer Io Sky match. I can't say that I blame them. I mean, who wouldn't be? So that's how this match officially came about. Elsewhere, Dominik Mysterio is with Adam Pearce and says, I can't go to medical right now. Pearce is trying to prod him. You got to go to medical. It's time to be evaluated. Because I can't. Raquel and Roxanne, they need me. They just texted me. And Pearce says, you got to stop stalling. You got to stop. And he walks off. Dom turns around, and there is AJ Styles. And AJ Styles is dressed as a janitor. And he is mopping the floor. And Dom obviously is caught off guard by this. He tells him, I'm not cleared, AJ. AJ says, you will be. So Dom runs off. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, who just lost in their triple threat match, are also backstage. And they can't believe they just lost. Styles tells him, hey, watch the floor. It's wet. And they're looking at him like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? What is going on here? And AJ exits the scene. And New Day was just confused by everything. They're like, the simulation is broken. Kofi looks up at the heavens and says he needs tech support. Woods says that we've got to do something here to restore the order. Grayson Waller shows up. He has great news. He shares that Austin Theory is injured. He says 240 pounds of dead weight off my back. Now that means I'm available to join with you guys. If you guys are looking for an ace, I'm a free agent. Kingston and Woods, they're very confused. But they tell Waller, hey, that sounds great. We love it, even though clearly they don't. And Waller left the scene. I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing about Austin Theory being injured. I assume he's not actually injured, and we'll come to find out that he was probably attacked at some point by Grayson Waller. And then we end up getting a proper match between them because, and most likely, a proper match between them in a random episode of Raw during the 9 p.m. hour. But if this really was their way of finally putting an end to this friendship and finally putting an end to this partnership, 2 years of this shit, okay? 2 years. These two guys have been partnered up. It was after he got annihilated by John Cena on the microphone, and then he went to WrestleMania and he beat John Cena, which didn't mean anything. It meant absolutely nothing to Austin Theory's career. It was actually a huge negative for his career. That whole storyline was, but it was coming out of that, I believe, that we got the first of this pairing between the two of them, right? 2 years of this shit. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, you can't possibly be ending this off camera like that. Like, is this truly, like, can you imagine after 2 years of this shit, if they just decide, you know what, we're going to end it by doing something off camera and just acknowledging it and then moving on? Not that I'm complaining about the fact that this team is now over. I mean, I've been talking about this and how ridiculous it is now for over a year that they kept like stalling and dragging it out. So look, I have no issue with them ending this tag team because it's just beyond ridiculous that they were even still paired up at this point. But to get no follow-up to it would be pretty ridiculous. So I have to imagine that is what we end up getting. And that we get an Austin Theory babyface turn. They'll do a match on some random episode of Raw. I saw that Waller posted a minute-long video on his X account where he was bashing Theory again. So clearly it feels to me like this has to lead to something. I mean, if it was going to lead to a match on Main Event, why even shoot this angle on Raw? And we'll see if the Austin Theory babyface turn goes anywhere. You know, you could turn Austin Theory babyface. It doesn't mean anything if you don't actually want to push the guy. I've never gotten the impression that Triple H sees in Austin Theory what Vince McMahon saw in Austin Theory. When Theory started getting a real push on this show, it was because of Vince. Vince literally paired himself up with Theory on TV. So whatever he saw in him, if you look at the way that he's been used over the last 2 years, you cannot tell me that Triple H sees in him what Vince sees in him. I think he certainly deserves an opportunity. I think that part of the problem is going to be the fact that he's just been marginalized for so long. Is it going to be easy for fans to suddenly buy into him in this new role? You don't know until you try. Doesn't mean he doesn't deserve the opportunity. It's not as if they're doing anything else with him as a heel. So you may as well give it a shot. You know, he's a talented guy. I think he could potentially find success in that role. But does Triple H want to see him succeed at that level? Or does he look at him as a lost cause? You know, is he going to push him because he genuinely wants to push him? Or is he going to try to push him because he feels like, well, we got to do something with this guy? I don't know. But he doesn't strike me as a Triple H guy. If he was a Triple H guy, he wouldn't be in the position that he's in. For his sake, I hope it works out. For his sake, I hope they actually do some kind of follow-up to this. Because it would be pretty fucking ridiculous if they don't. So after this, it was time to hear from the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch. She was on her way to the ring for a promo. She told the fans to put some appreciation on her name. She should have been at the premiere tonight of her new movie, Happy Gilmore 2, but instead she was in Houston. She called out Lyra Valkyria. Valkyria joined her in the ring. Becky said that their trilogy would end at SummerSlam, and she recalls saying that she would never challenge for the title again if she lost the previous match they had, which of course Becky ended up winning. So she challenged Lyra Valkyria to the same stipulation. If you can't beat me at SummerSlam and win the title, you can never again challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I think the difference is, unless she misspoke, I didn't hear Becky say you can't challenge for it so long as I'm the champion. She just said, if you lose, you can't challenge for this ever again. And this was acceptable to Lyra. Lyra accepted those terms, but she said that I want something in return. What I want is for this match to be no countouts and no disqualifications. There must be a winner. I had floated the idea about a month ago about doing a last woman standing match. And I do think that that would have been perfect for these two. Had they not gone and blown it off, with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax in a random match on SmackDown. So now you can't do a last woman standing match. So this is what they're going with now. No count out, no DQ, must be a winner. I'm sure we're going to get some weapons implied. I really hope we don't, actually. I don't need this to be another WWE Extreme Rules match. I don't need that. I don't need tables, and I don't need fucking kendo sticks. If you want to do some spots outside, whether the announce table or in the crowd, that's fine. I kind of hope it doesn't turn into what all of these matches ultimately turn into. Like kind of what we saw with Tiffany and Jade. I mean, they had a no-holds-barred match, but it kind of followed the standard blueprint of these WWE hardcore matches. I don't really think we need that necessarily, but, it's nice to know that we will have a winner. And this should be Lyra's crowning moment. It has to be now. I mean, they kind of gave it away, honestly, with the stipulation. She has to win. You're not just going to beat her and then she can't challenge for the championship ever again. This whole angle was designed to help get Lyra over, and guess what? It's worked. It's worked. But the payoff always had to be that when we get to this point, Becky loses the title back to her. Not to Bayley, not to some new person that we haven't heard of before from NXT, Lyra. This whole thing has been designed to get Lyra Valkyria from here to here. She was at level 1, let's get her to level 2. So far it's worked. SummerSlam has to be the big finale for her. And I think that much is pretty clear from them adding that stipulation. So now that that was all settled and we had our stipulation for SummerSlam, Becky agreed. Valkyria said that she would see her at SummerSlam and she dropped the mic. Becky said that Lyra has disrespected her, but she would not let her disrespect the gravitas of the match. Becky said that she would be the bigger person yet again, and she requested that Lyra shake her hand. Lyra was about to oblige when Becky lunged at her, and Valkyria grabbed her, put her down with her own manhandle slam. Bayley then made her entrance. Role model. If she goes heel, I'm begging for it. Because if you're a heel, you can't be a role model, which means they have to change her music. They have to change her awful music at that point. So, can't wait for the Bayley heel turn, because we didn't get it tonight, but I do think it's coming very soon. But we had a women's tag team title match. It was Bayley and Lyra Valkyria challenging Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. I noticed something here. This was added very late in the day, and evidently it was just as simple as Bayley going to Adam Pearce and requesting a match. She's learning. She must have learned from Charlotte Flair, because that's what Charlotte did on Friday. She told Alexa, yeah, I just went and I got us a tag team title match. Okay. I guess that's the new thing to do now. Dominik Mysterio, by the way, was out in the Judgment Day's corner for this match. So the match was joined in progress. Bayley tagged herself in. Valkyria was surprised, but then she joined Bayley in trying to suplex Raquel, who reversed it, and she suplexed both women. Roxanne tagged in. And Raquel grabbed Perez and hit a fallaway slam that launched her partner at Bayley. Valkyria tagged in, got distracted by Bayley doing some very over-the-top cheerleading. I think she was trying to get the crowd to do the woo that people do when Lyra's music plays. So she was distracted by that. Rodriguez took advantage. Perez clotheslined Lyra out over the top rope while the referee was distracted. A lot of distractions going on in this show. And Raquel put Lyra down with a clothesline. That took us into the commercial break. Later on, Valkyria tagged in, hit a top rope leg drop on Perez. Roxanne, though, pulled Bayley out to the floor and then was fighting with her while Valkyria got a 2 count in the ring. Bayley ran Rodriguez into the ring post. Meanwhile, inside, we had Perez setting Valkyria on the top turnbuckle. Valkyria slipped underneath, power bombed her. Bayley tagged in, hit her top rope elbow on Roxanne. Rodriguez, though, returned to break up the pin. Bayley grabbed Roxanne. She grabs Roxanne. But then she releases her when Dominik jumps up on the apron because he's sensing that trouble is brewing here. I got to get involved. So he jumps up on the apron. Bayley lets go of her opponent. Perez used the distraction to roll up Bayley, only for 2. Valkyria confronted Dom at ringside. Rodriguez threw a big boot at Valkyria, but she ducked. And the spot was that she was going to boot Dom. It didn't really connect. I mean, it kind of grazed him. He falls to the ground, and Raquel is like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And like they're showing Dom laying there on the ground outside. And you could see, right? It's like, oh, well, if I was going to be medically cleared before, now I have a good excuse not to get medically cleared, even though this kick fucking grazed me here. So he's laying on the ground outside. A medic appears to check on Dom. There's a second medic, and he has the first one step aside. All we can see, though, are the medic's legs. We see his feet. We can't initially see who it is, but then the camera pans and we see that it's AJ Styles, who in the span of one night went from being a valet to being a janitor, and now apparently he went to medical school. Well, actually, if you're a medic, that's an interesting question. You do have to go to medical school, right? I wonder how that works. Is there a different school that one would go to if you are specifically a medic? I don't know. That's a very good question. I need my medics to check in to let me know exactly what the process is here. What kind of certifications are needed for one to be a medic? I mean, these are very important people. I would like to know personally what their credentials are. So AJ chases, so he starts doing chest compressions on him, and Dom shoves him away, and he runs into the ring, and AJ chases in after him, and Dom flees out on the other side of the ring. Meanwhile, while all of this is going on, Becky Lynch, camera cuts over to Becky Lynch, who must have been hiding under the ring. She appears outside the ring. She pulls Valkyria to the floor and runs her into the ring steps. Bayley did not see this. The referee did not see this. Bayley and Perez, they traded pin attempts in the ring. Rodriguez made a blind tag before Bayley hit a Bayley-to-belly suplex on Roxanne. Rodriguez then put Bayley down with the Tejana bomb and got the 3 count. So Ken says, spent an entire summer obtaining EMT certification. See, okay, so...
I am the
Shut the fuck up. Fuck that tree. Jeremy, thank you for the learning tree. Dr. Styles, PhD. I would like to see the man's credentials myself before I start having him do chest compressions on me. Certainly not getting mouth to mouth from this individual. As if there was ever any doubt, Raquel and Roxanne will still be defending the women's tag team titles at SummerSlam against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. But like, think about what we had going on here at the end, here in this one match, right? So we had AJ Styles show up, still going after Dominik Mysterio. We had Becky Lynch reemerge, right, to attack Lyra. And we had Bayley, who, because of what was going on outside with Becky and Lyra, when she went to the corner, nobody was there. She had nobody to tag. And so ultimately she was by herself and she lost because her partner was not there, which is obviously going to create an issue between Bayley and Lyra coming out of this. So there were a lot of things going on here. I kept waiting. There was one moment in particular where Lyra was reaching for the tag, and I thought Bayley's going to drop down off the apron, but she never did. I mean, they played it straight. Like Bayley really wanted to win these women's tag team titles. But then in the end, her partner just deserted her. She wasn't there. So, I mean, clearly this Bayley heel turn, I think, is coming soon. And I think for a variety of different reasons, it'll be good. It'll be good for Bayley, I think, even though it feels like it wasn't that long ago that she went from heel to babyface. I mean, at this point, it's probably been a year, but I mean, where else does she really fit in at the moment if she's going to stay a babyface? And also, if we could possibly get rid of this shitty music, I'm all for it. Jackie Redmond interviewed Sami Zayn at the gorilla position backstage as he was preparing to go out for his match coming up with Karrion Kross. She pointed out that he was supposed to be out indefinitely. Sami admitted that I may not be 100% and probably should be taking more time off, but I was sick of Karrion Kross, he said. Kross was the reason that he wasn't on Raw last week. And no doubt in his mind that if he was here on Raw last week, he would have been in that gauntlet match and he would have won that gauntlet match. And he would be getting a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. So he didn't want to wait any longer to get his hands on Kross. They played his music and out to the ring he went. Absolute cinema. Ace Italiano. Thank you, brother, with the 1999. Yes, indeed. It's a glorious day. I didn't see Bobby Roode backstage in any of these segments. I did see Jason Jordan. I saw Hurricane Helms. I don't know if Bobby Roode really... He's usually not in these segments, right? Where the agents break things up. You don't really see him. I think he's usually sitting down at Gorilla with Triple H and Bruce Pritchard and Billy Kidman and all those guys. You never see him physically getting involved in anything. But before we went to Sami and Kross, in the back, Dom was asking anyone if he had seen AJ Styles. And he came upon his fellow Judgment Day teammates, Finn Balor and JD McDonough. A very pissed off Adam Pearce appears. He tells Dom, you got to go to medical now to be evaluated, okay? No more of this shit. Either go to medical or I'm taking that title away from you. That's it. So he got his ultimatum. Dom was very upset, but he left to go to medical. Balor yelled for Dom to get them some lollipops. Sami Zayn against Karrion Kross, whose entrance did not air during the show. His entrance took place during the commercial break. So when they came back, Kross was already in the ring. Ding, ding, ding. We're underway. Zayn wrestled with his ribs all taped up. There were dueling chants early in the match. Zayn hit an Arabian press. Scarlett, though, kicked Zayn in his injured ribs as the referee was checking on Kross. Kross had control through a break. Sami made his comeback after that. There was a long stretch here during this match where it was really just Zayn selling. And it was very quiet and it was very boring, which is probably why the crowd was very quiet. Finally, though, Sami gave Kross an exploder into the corner. Now, Kross is a bigger guy. And Sami has thrown around big guys before. I mean, he's given exploder suplexes to Drew McIntyre, and there's a lot of guys who are bigger than Sami Zayn. But Kross is bigger than him, and they were a little too close to the ropes. So he gave him the exploder, and Kross was able to, tuck his head, but it looked like maybe almost he didn't make it, and his nose sort of either smashed into the mat or scraped the mat, as he went over for the suplex, because he came up with a bloody nose. So that's why he was bleeding. Zayn set up for a haluva kick. Scarlett, though, grabbed his leg. The referee is arguing with Scarlett. Instead of ejecting her, he's busy arguing with her. As she's distracting the referee, on the opposite side in the corner, as Kross is getting up, there's a pipe. Scarlett had introduced this about a minute earlier. She was going to pass it along to him, but the referee was watching. But now he's got possession of the pipe. Referee's back is still turned. In comes Sami. Kross blasts him in the ribs with the pipe. And then he covers Sami for the tainted win. And I watched this and I thought, a win is a win. Now, granted, it was not a very strong win for Karrion Kross. It took a pipe to beat an injured Sami Zayn, who came into this match at much less than 100% with his ribs all taped up. He still needed a foreign object and the distraction of his wife to win the match for him. But a win is a win. And if there's anybody who could use more wins on this show, it is Karrion Kross. So you take the small victories where you can get them, and tonight it was a victory for him. It's just too bad the match was very boring. Now, when the match was over, Kross he was bleeding from the nose. He was rubbing the blood for added effect all over his face, like literally going like this. And they're showing this on camera, right? Now he looks more menacing because he got some blood all over his face. Scarlett comes over and kisses him. After she kisses him, she has his blood on her face. So you've got Kross with blood on his face. You've got Scarlett with blood on her face. And I'm guessing that probably did not go over very well backstage. I'm guessing that they might be told not to do that again. I know what he was trying to do, again, just for added effect here, but I don't know that we'll be seeing them do that again. We go backstage. AJ Styles and Adam Pearce are waiting outside the trainer's room to find out what the result is of Dominik Mysterio's evaluation. Trainer finally walks out of the room and said that I still have more paperwork to complete. He's like, we don't have a decision yet? We have to wait longer? He's like, yeah, I have more paperwork that has to be done. Welcome to the U.S. healthcare system. Dominik suddenly blasts AJ from behind with the Intercontinental title, and he looks down at him and says, I'm cleared, and I'll see you at SummerSlam. So there you go. Now it's official. Intercontinental Championship will be defended at SummerSlam. Actually, both Intercontinental titles. And we have the United States Championship from SmackDown. At this moment, the second U.S. title is the only one not being defended. I think all the other titles are accounted for, right? WWE title, World Heavyweight title, Women's World title, WWE Women's title, Women's Tag Team titles, IC title, U.S. title, Women's IC title. I mean, other than the fucking Speed title, what am I missing here, right? It's just the Women's U.S. belt. Julia made a comment this past week. She was on some kind of a show, and she said that she won't be able to forgive herself if she has nothing to do for those 2 days. She wants to be on the show. She wants to be defending the title. I wish her well. I mean, it looks like she's going to have a rematch coming up soon with Zelina Vega. I'm guessing it ends up on SmackDown, maybe the Friday before SummerSlam, but I don't know. I just don't. It's not looking good as far as her having a title defense on that show. At this point, it'll be a miracle if she's on the card at all. But all the other titles are accounted for at this point. Then we had Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, and this is really where the show finally picked up. It was really from this segment on right up until the end. Other than that, it was very quiet for a lot of the segments and matches on this show. Not for everything, but for the majority of what we saw. So the two of them here, two of the best performers, best female performers period, in the entire company. Also two of the most popular. They traded roll-up attempts that resulted in 2 counts. Io drop-kicked Stephanie, who rolled out to the floor. Io hit a suicide dive. She went for an Acai moonsault, but she had to roll through because Stephanie saw it coming. Vaquer kicked her and then hit a springboard crossbody block on the floor. That took us into the commercial. Coming out of it, Io sent Stephanie to the floor and then hit her with the Acai moonsault that she did connect with this time. So Io rolled Stephanie back inside, delivered a missile dropkick. Io rolled Stephanie onto her back and double stomped her right in the guts. Io went for the double knees in the corner. Stephanie moved and put her down with the German suplex. So then Stephanie charged at Io, who sidestepped her and then executed a German suplex of her own. So Vaquer ended up on the apron. Io goes for a sunset bomb through the ropes. And Vaquer avoids it. She performs the Devil's Kiss on the apron. Now people are into this. They love the Devil's Kiss. Then rolls her inside the ring and continues with the Devil's Kiss, which results in a 2 count. Stephanie takes Io down with a dragon screw leg whip. Follows up with the double knees in the corner. Fans are chanting, "This is awesome." Maybe the first time all night that I've actually heard that chant. Io came back with a backbreaker across the knee that the announcer said was very similar to Stephanie's SVB finish. Io goes up top for her finish. Stephanie, though, trips her and joins her on the ropes. And Stephanie hits an avalanche reverse suplex. And Io just gets planted right down on her face. Here comes Piper Niven and Alba Fire. They're in their secret Hervis outfits. And they're coming down to the ring. They climb up on the apron. Stephanie knocks them down. Meanwhile, Chelsea Green enters from behind and attacks Stephanie because there's been some issues with these ladies in the last couple of weeks. Even going back to the Battle Royal at Evolution. So Chelsea attacks Stephanie from behind for what I'm sure WWE will call a no contest because they love doing that. It was a disqualification. I don't give a shit what they call it. This was a disqualification because Chelsea attacked Stephanie. She did not attack Io. She attacked Stephanie, and then the bell rang. That's a disqualification win for Stephanie Vaquer. So after the match, Stephanie and Io, they cleared the heels from the ring. They stood up and they were, they're staring them down and they're kind of jawing at them. And it's like they're stalling and they're waiting for something. We could hear the crowd is reacting to something, but we can't see what. And I'm like, it's got to be Naomi. Especially because earlier in the show, what did we see? We saw Naomi confronting Stephanie in the back. And Io, of course, is part of that triple threat match against Naomi and Rhea at SummerSlam. And sure enough, it was Naomi. She shoves Io into Stephanie, which knocks Stephanie out to the floor. So now the secret Hervis can work her over. Then we hear Rhea Ripley's music. Gigantic pop. Biggest on the entire show. I mean, Punk got a big pop when he came out at the beginning, but this felt even louder than that. Gigantic reaction for this woman. Rhea Ripley comes out, hits Piper Niven with a big boot at ringside before headbutting Alba Fire. Ripley enters the ring. She puts Naomi down. Naomi rolls out of the ring. Io and Stephanie took shots at Chelsea Green, and Ripley put Chelsea down with Riptide. And the baby faces stood tall. You had Rhea Ripley, you had Io Sky, you had Stephanie Vaquer. I'm like, what a fucking trio of women this is. Io, Stephanie, and Rhea. It's a hell of a combination right there, I would say. They got some talent on this show. This was a very good match. Again, unfortunate we couldn't get a clean finish. This is the second time now that these two have been interrupted in some way. We did not get a decisive winner. I am ready for them to run it back. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen in Paris because that would require Io Sky to win the championship back at SummerSlam, and I just don't see that happening. But hopefully at some point we'll get a third match with an actual winner because these two work very well together. Again, two of the most popular performers they have on the entire roster. But whenever we get it, I am looking forward to it. This was the best match on the entire show. Then we came to the closing segment of tonight's episode, which had Paul Heyman walking out to the ring with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. This was ahead of one last commercial break here before the closing segment. Heyman introduced Breaker and Reed as the future of the industry and said that he had a lot to get off his chest before he comes out. The he that he was referring to was Roman Reigns, whose music interrupted to another giant ovation. We go from Rhea and her giant ovation to Roman Reigns and his giant ovation. He slowly made his way down to the ring to join them. Heyman said he doesn't want to come off as disrespectful or rude, like someone born in Texas. But so you know, Seth Rollins is going to be out of action for a long, long time. And that opens up a leadership void over here, which means if you think about it, we can fix this, you and I. It says we can put this back together. And look what comes along with me. Because, deep down, we're far better together than opposing each other. You'll always be my family because I love you, my tribal chief. And the fans chanted, "You sold out," at Heyman. Roman said, "Let's put that on pause. There's one thing I forgot to do." It says, "H-Town." And everybody cheered. "Acknowledge me." You want me to lead? A few years ago, I would have said those were wise words from a wise man. But you're not a wise man anymore. You're just a dumbass. And Heyman and Reed had to hold back Braun Breaker. Roman told him, he said, "Junior, ease up, Junior. You might want to sit under the learning tree." I said, you could see the look on my face, like the fear of God, was put into me, especially with all these rumors going around about Jericho and his contract. I'm like, the learning tree, you say? He's telling Braun Breaker, come sit under the learning tree. Oh, man. Said Heyman will do to him what he did to Roman. Because in a few years, when Breaker is the man around here, Heyman's going to take all the credit. He said he's heard a lot of people try to take credit for him being the tribal chief. He's the tribal chief because these people, the fans, choose to acknowledge him. The OTC was a champion too. The greatest champion to ever step foot inside this ring. And he will say Heyman had a part in that, but he didn't have any part in him keeping that title. I mean, look at him. How could he, honestly? Goes, no, the Usos did. Solo did. You're welcome. Sami even helped out, he said. But yeah, he lost that title. It only took 4 years, but he lost that title. But Heyman told everybody that he tucked his tail and ran. But no, he went home to look after the future bloodline. Because Roman, he's got a lot of kids at home. I think he has 2 sets of twins. And then a daughter, I think that was his firstborn. So he's got 5 kids. So the bloodline, and I think Jacob has 7. So, and they made the comment during the TNA. Oh, it was Enzo. Fucking Enzo on the pre-show last night at Slammiversary mentioned that I think Zilla has 5 kids. Zilla's only 25 years old. I didn't realize he already had 5 kids. So the bloodline's not going anywhere, guys. The bloodline will outlast all of us. He said, you see, the dumbass here, he thought that we were just another faction or some wrestling group. He goes, nah, you can create those, but this was God's work. He looked at Breaker and he said, I'm not going to say it again. Because Breaker was just itching to get his hands on Roman. He says, I'm not going to say it again. Back up, son. But you know what really bothers him and gets under his skin? Heyman used to be just a friend to their family, a business partner. He made him part of their family. And what I'm just looking at the chat. See, everybody, they're like, yep, bloodline's not going nowhere. Bloodlines don't die, they multiply. That's for damn sure. So he says, he's talking about Heyman. You used to just be a friend, but I made you a part of this actual family. And what did you do? He threw it all away, all for a best friend. Someone he hadn't even talked to in over a decade. And you betrayed me and my family for him? Talking about Punk, obviously. Don't ever come out here and say Roman ruined the bloodline. This dumbass did. So at this point, Braun Breaker finally took the microphone. He told Roman to get it through his thick skull. They don't want him here anymore. He's yesterday's news, the old dog. Hell, you were relevant 5 years ago. That was your prime. You're just taking up a spot in my ring. He knows Paul won't stab him in the back because he holds value in this place. You're worthless. He's the big dog now. He's the top dog now. He's the future of WWE. He's the man around here now. So do what you do best, Roman. Turn around and leave. So Roman said, I got to be honest, I didn't hear any of that trash that you just said. Said, I don't think your mic was working, so please use mine. And he tosses his microphone to Breaker, and as he does so, he comes charging in and he delivers a Superman punch. So Roman went after Bronson Reed, but then he turned around into a spear from Braun Breaker. The two heels put the boots to Roman until Reed threatened him with a tsunami splash, but we heard Jey Uso's music. On WWE night at Citi Field, no less. They were selling, I don't know if they were selling, but they were giving them away, these custom Mr. Met bobbleheads. They were like Yeet bobbleheads. They had the Yeet glasses on Mr. Met. He wasn't at the game, though. Jey Uso was here. And Jey Uso comes out. He took the fight to Breaker. He took the fight to Reed. And we got a double spear to the heels, sending them out of the ring. And that was how Raw went off the air tonight. So still no official announcement for what the match will be with Roman Reigns, but we can surmise from the last 2 weeks what it's going to be. I thought there was a chance they might want to break it up and do singles matches. Jey against Bronson, Roman against Breaker. They're not going to do that. Roman Reigns against Braun Breaker could very well main event another PLE, depending on what PLE it is. Like, that's a big enough match that you can save it for another show, because I think with all the matches they already have announced, and we'll probably get a couple more, to add 2 more just by breaking it up, it doesn't make as much sense as just having Roman and Jey on the same side. So we're going to get a tag team match. It'll be made official, maybe not even next week. I mean, they might make it official on social media tomorrow for all we know. But that's going to be the match for SummerSlam. Reigns against Breaker, again, that's the match I'm really looking forward to because it really does feel like the present against the future. You know, when Braun is in the ring talking about how I'm the future and you're the past and your prime was 5 years ago. I mean, there is a lot of truth to, you know, when he talks about the company building around him and I'm going to headline all these WrestleManias. I mean, that's why he's in the position he's in right now. That's why they handpicked him to be part of Seth's group, or Seth wanted him in the group, because they see him as being the guy who could potentially lead the company for years to come. I mean, there's a whole crop of great young talent that they have, some that are even still at the Performance Center right now, but Braun Breaker is that guy. There's only 2 guys who I look at and say, okay, these are the 2 guys this company can very well build around as like the franchise player. Braun Breaker and/or Jacob Fatu. And they have a ton of other talented guys. But I don't see anybody else being in that spot except these 2. Like at this moment. It feels like they're either, if they're not being groomed for it, which Breaker clearly is, but Jacob he's just naturally over. Even if they don't see him that way, I think he's going to be the guy too. So there's a lot of truth in that. We're going to be seeing these guys for the next 5 to 10 years. They're going to win multiple world championships. They're going to have WrestleMania main events. So to get Braun Breaker in the ring with Roman Reigns is a big deal. It really does feel like a generational match, is, again, as far as the past or the present, whatever you want to call Roman, against clearly the future quarterback of this company. It could be a WrestleMania match. It could be a match they do in Paris at the end of next month. But I am looking forward to that. The Rollins mention, again, I'm in the camp of, I'm not buying that it's, if he is hurt, that it's as serious as they want you to believe it is. I can believe there's a minor injury, but I I no longer am of the opinion that, man, he got hurt on Saturday night's main event. He fucking, tore his ACL. Like, no. No, they want to bury this, even if he doesn't come back at SummerSlam. They want to bury this long enough where you're not going to be thinking about it. So when the music hits and the moment comes and he's got the briefcase, it's going to be a big shock, right? It's going to be a big shocking thing, and he'll win the World Heavyweight Championship. The crowd on this show, again, they did not show actual signs of life until late in the show. It was kind of shocking for, I don't know if they said it was sold out or not, but I know they said there were 13,000 people in the building. It was shockingly quiet there, and it does affect the show when you have multiple matches and multiple segments where the crowd just doesn't seem invested. And the wrestlers are trying to get them into it, but they're just not having a lot of luck. So there was a lot of that up and down the show tonight. It was not a bad show. Again, I mentioned Sheamus and Rusev. I mentioned the women's tag match, Stephanie and Io, the closing segment, Karrion Kross getting a win. I didn't think much of the match itself, but it was nice to see him A, featured, and B, getting a win. And hopefully that's something that they can build off of. And I got a kick out of the AJ and Dom stuff, and that was a show-long storyline that they threaded throughout the entire 2.5 hours. So I enjoyed it for what it was. It was not the most exciting episode of Raw, but there was more good than bad. And we'll see on Friday if we get any more announcements for SummerSlam, if Julia gets her match. Again, it's not looking good. I hope she gets one, though. Got 2 nights of SummerSlam. Every championship should be accounted for, at least in terms of the singles titles, because the tag titles, I mean, maybe the SmackDown tag belts get defended there. I can't see the Raw tag titles being defended. SmackDown tag teams are going to get a slap in the face if they get left off that show. They got left out in April at WrestleMania. And then they went out there and had a TLC match on TV, and they killed it. I think they deserve a spot on the show. I hope they get that. What did you think of Raw from Houston? 81.1% thumbs up. 18.9% thumbs down. So it looks like you guys enjoyed Raw for the most part as well. At Solomonster on X is where you can go to vote. There you go. Let's take a look at your messages. On the likes, we are at 374. So we got to get that up to 400 minimum if we are going to do Be the Booker. So let's get working on that. All right, let's go through this here. Thank you for being with me here on a Monday night as we kick off a brand new week. Coming off Slammiversary. Let's start with Holiday. How about that? Holiday 197 was first on the list here. Says, hey Solo, I'm hoping that Dominik defends the IC title at SummerSlam in a ladder match as a throwback to the Eddie and Ray ladder match from SummerSlam 2005. I mean, I get the whole callback thing. It does not need to be a ladder match. It's not going to be. It's not going to be a ladder match. It doesn't have to be. I get what you're saying, but it really is not necessary. Dry Chicken. Trick Williams needs to be on the main roster. This man is a national treasure. TKO and WWE have to push him to the moon. Also says he's predicting a Leon Slater-Javon Evans match either at NXT Heatwave or TNA Bound for Glory. Yeah, somebody, I think it was in the Super Chats, but somebody suggested that last night. And that match would be incredible. I'd love to see that match. Arabian Night, Theory's quote-unquote injured, probably more likely on his way out. See, I didn't read it that way. Not that I'd be shocked. I read it more as they're turning it into an angle. They're going to, return him as a babyface. We'll find out that Waller took him out, and we'll get a match between them. Also, if I'm LA Knight, I'm pissed. He beat Rollins, then nothing. Moving forward for Summer. Well, I mean, are you that surprised? Where does he fit in? They haven't put him in a position where he fits into any particular match. You know, Randy and Drew are occupied with fucking Jelly Roll. Seth is either injured or he's going to cash in secretly or whatever the plan is for Seth Rollins. I mean, where does LA Knight fit in? They haven't set him up with anything. Yeah, I'd be upset if I were him too. Remember when he beat Logan Paul for the U.S. title at SummerSlam? It was last year, wasn't it last year? And people popped for it. People were happy to see him finally win a championship. It says, clearly upper management don't care. 18 months ago, he was as over as Cody. Shaking my head. Jungle Batman. Our friend Jungle Batman is back. The $9.99. What chances on which matches happens at WrestleMania next year? Roman against John Cena, Roman against CM Punk, or Roman against The Rock? I don't honestly see any of those matches happening, but if there was any chance of one of them happening, it would definitely be Roman and Punk. Cena is done at the end of this year. He's not wrestling at WrestleMania next year. And people have to give up this whole Roman and Rock thing. It's just, you got to let it go. You just got to let it go. Abyssal Zones also joins in here and says having no plans for LA Knight at SummerSlam is inexcusable. I agree. You got Cody Moore, channel member for 31 months. Says, just wanted to say thank you and I appreciate you. Well, that's very kind of you, Cody. I appreciate you too, my friend. Thank you for the 31 months. We got the big fundamental Tim Duncan with a $10 super chat. Buy, sell, or rent. Which championship matchup between two New York teams that you would want to see? Yankees against Mets World Series, Giants against Jets Super Bowl, Rangers against Islanders Stanley Cup. I really only care about the Mets here, so by default I have to say Yankees and Mets. Jungle Batman, when will Uncle Howdy finally have a match? He already has. He already has. Near says, you're the man, Solomonster. Thank you, brother. You're not too shabby yourself. I hope you're doing well. Are they going to do anything more with Sheamus? I think Sheamus at this point for them is a gatekeeper. I do hope that we eventually see him win the Intercontinental title. It's the only fucking story that's really left with him. So I hope they give him that at some point. But it feels like he's more of a gatekeeper now than anything else. You know, he's like the elder statesman, and they know that he'll be able to put on a banger with whoever he's in the ring with. He's very popular, and they can just throw him out there and plug him into whatever situation they need him for. I don't think that we're ever going to see him in a role again where he's really the focal point. I really don't. I think those days are over. Thomas with a $1.99 says, rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Rest in peace indeed. Only 54 years old. On vacation in Costa Rica with his family. And he drowned. So it's very sad. Jeremy Rose, WWE going to commercial during Kross's entrance. What the fuck? Well, I got to see it because, you know, my trusty VPN, but yes, it's bullshit. He's got a very cool entrance too. It's the kind of entrance that you think you would want to show on TV. He's got a cooler entrance than Sami Zayn does. But they couldn't find time to show it on TV. GMB, who turns heel first? Jade, Tiffany, or Bianca? I could see any of the, well, more so Jade and Tiffany, but I could see any of the three. I'm hoping Bianca, but I will tell you, I think Jade makes more sense as a heel. I just think it would be a better fit for her if she was out there as a heel. So if you're asking me who I think turns heel first, I'll go Jade. I would want it to be Bianca, but I'm going to say Jade. Duff's Vids, when did the Terminator... Oh, I'm sorry. What did the Terminator... What did the Terminator say when he was asked where the milk was at the grocery store? I'll be back. You had to really work for that one. The payoff wasn't quite what it should have been. Still a better payoff than what TNA gave us last night. But not the best stuff. Absolute Cinema. That joke wasn't Absolute Cinema, but Lost Dill with the 1999. Says he's here late. Here's to be the booker. Love you, Solo. Thank you, Lost Dill. We're at 420 likes. Smoke him if you got him. We'll be doing Be the Booker here in a little bit. Duff's Vid says, what did Mike Tyson say to Chris Hemsworth after a workout? You're going to be Thor in the morning. See? That was better. Good job. Jeremy Rose watching Slammiversary last night and saw floor sponsors. How long until TKO gets on that train? Oh, I'm sure they're taking notes. Yeah, they had floor sponsor. It reminded me of a WWE show in that regard. I don't like that. I don't like it. But they're going to be owned by them within the next 5 years anyway, so I guess we better get used to it. Jeremy says, Triple H treating Theory like Vince did Hunter's, quote-unquote, Hunter's guys from NXT. If Cena truly passes the torch, who would benefit from beating him in his feud? Oba Femi, Trick, or any other idea? I don't know what you really get at this point. I mean, Cena was on this horrible losing streak for so many years in singles matches. He came back this year. He almost immediately went heel. And so as a heel, he's the chicken shit heel. He cheats, right? Runs away. Eventually he'll get his babyface comeback. I don't know what does Oba Femi get by beating John Cena? What does he get out of it? What did Austin Theory get out of beating John Cena? Like in the ring, Cena is not the same John Cena he was years ago. Beating John Cena to me does not mean what it once did. I don't think these guys are going to get as much as you may think if they beat John Cena, whether it's his retirement match or not. It's just not going to mean what you think it would mean. I don't think that there's that value there where he's got to lose to a young up-and-comer. They can get the rub, right? You can do it, but like practically speaking, what is it really going to mean? I don't think it's going to mean all that much. I really don't. Linkmaster X, Cena losing to Miz and Theory at Mania would be like Hulk Hogan losing to who? Pick two jabronis that would parallel Miz and Theory. God. What would be the equivalent? It would be like Hulk Hogan. I was gonna say the model. I don't want to disrespect Rick Martel, but like somebody on that level, right? So him losing to somebody of that caliber. It'd be like Hogan losing to fucking Dino Bravo at WrestleMania. Barry says, do you think Alexa and Charlotte can be a good comedy team like Kane and Daniel Bryan? I mean, I think the potential is there, sure. I think we're already seeing kind of some signs of it, but they haven't leaned into it too heavily yet. I think the potential is there. Duff's Vid says, how do you make a waterbed more bouncy? You use spring water. Virgil. Hogan losing to Virgil. Are you putting Miz and Virgil on the same, like, I mean, look at Miz's accomplishments and look at Virgil's accomplishments. I mean, there really is no comparison there. That's kind of a slap in the face to the Miz. I can't believe you said that. Ace Italiano, according to Bubba and Jimmy Hart, Hulk Hogan is home but can't speak because of damage to his trachea and is in a hospital bed at home being monitored. And Bubba said it's not looking good. Yeah, I saw that earlier. I mean, I gave a whole update on Hogan this weekend. And a lot of the information has come from Bubba on his show, who obviously shares a lot of acquaintances and friends with Hogan, even though the two of them have not been on speaking terms in many years. But they're kind of plugged into that Florida scene down there. Look, there's a reason why we have not seen or heard from Hulk Hogan in over 2 months. At a time when he is in the middle or was in the middle of promoting his beer, and he was anointed the commissioner, the face of this new amateur wrestling freestyle wrestling league that's having their first event in like 5 weeks. He should be all over the place right now. Why do you think he isn't? He's incapacitated. Something is very wrong with Hulk Hogan. Now, is he on death's door? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a little exaggerated, but he's clearly not in a good way. And probably can't speak, or else we would have heard from him. So I've been hearing a lot of that same stuff about how, you know, whatever is going on, he may not be able to speak. He may have tubes, or his vocal cords. There may have been something damaged or something. Because look, he went in originally for a cervical fusion, like a neck surgery. And when they do that kind of surgery, they have to physically move, like the vocal cords or the esophagus. They have to move that over. So maybe there was damage done when they did that. I don't know, but nobody has seen or heard from Hogan in over 2 months. So they're promoting all this shit without him. So you know something serious is going on. And it doesn't sound good. Emmanuel. If you have your own wrestling attire, would you wear trunks or long tights? I think for the benefit of everybody watching, I would probably be wearing long tights. Duff's Vids, where does a person go when they injure themselves during peekaboo? The ICU. You suck. Oh boy. The ICU. Crowd of one. Yeah, Venom Katetsu says, Eric Bischoff was on Ariel Helwani's show today. It's very interesting. Nothing was said about Hogan. So I have to imagine that they told Ariel before the interview, like, don't even bother asking. Because if they didn't, and Ariel just never brought it up, I mean, that is like journalistic malpractice. So I'm sure Ariel was told either there's no update or we can't tell you or don't ask about it. Because that should have been the first fucking question, honestly. Like, your business partner here. Where is he?
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Hey, look at that. Yukio rules with Mentos, the fresh maker. $30 super chat drop. Thank you, Yukio. Where have you been? I hope you're doing well. Crowd of one, happy birthday to me, Preston, and HBK. Love your show. Happy birthday, Preston. That's right, it is Shawn Michaels' birthday. What is he now? He's 60... 61? Early 60s, right? Not Preston, I'm talking HBK. Jeremy Rose, do you think Zilla can be ready for WWE in a year? NXT. I could see him hitting NXT first. People have to remember, like, Zilla's only been doing this for about a year. You know, he doesn't have a ton of experience, and I think for his experience level, he's come very far. But I also think you don't want to just send somebody to the deep end of the pool right away. A year, I think, maybe is pushing it, but do I think he's going to ultimately end up there? Absolutely. It's just a matter of time. HBK is 60. Oh, so was this his 60th birthday? Apparently it was. Wow. The big 6-0, huh? So what was he? 1965, right? Wow. Well, good for him. He doesn't look a day over 61. Drew McIncock. Goldberg is another bald fraud. Yeah, if you missed my rant on the whole Goldberg situation, it is up on the channel right now. 30,000 views and counting on that one. Jeremy Rose says Rollins cashing in at Survivor Series. Well, that is a stadium show. Going to be in San Diego this year. Alfonso going to NXT tomorrow. Hopefully we're louder than today's crowd. It would be hard not to be. I mean, that's a much smaller building. Obafemi will rule WWE for years and years to come. I think that's a fair assessment. Obafemi is quite the menacing presence. He's very talented. I smoke a lot of weed with the $4.99. When Cena's career is over, maybe we can get a Solomonster's top 17 John Cena matches. Or even promos of his. He's been part of many countdowns I've done before, but yeah, I mean, somebody will hit me up around that time and I could probably put something together. Once he's officially done. Bobby Means. Speaking of the future talents of WWE, Tony D'Angelo is a hidden gem on Tuesday nights, but also don't sleep on Jasper Troy. Kelani Jordan is a gem too. Yeah, I mean, what little I've seen of Jasper Troy, still a ways off, but the potential is there. Holiday 197 says SummerSlam is featuring several Extreme Rules type matches like Street Fight, Steel Cage, and No Disqualification. Interesting given the New York, New Jersey crowd. Lost Dill. Again, thank you for that 1999. Rob. Julia versus JC Jane. Let her take that belt. Who cares? I'd love it, but that's not going to happen. Apparently, JC Jane rules the world now. Champion of multiple promotions. All of TNA's top titles. Occupied by WWE talents. We got Pisco Sour. I know so many people are drooling for his heel turn, but if Cody is to turn heel at SummerSlam, they must have another guy ready to be the next top babyface. The problem is I don't see anyone fitting that bill. Well, I mean, LA Knight's not doing nothing. No, but you're right. I mean, again, I've made that point before, but it's just in one ear and out the other with people. They want cinema. They want the moment. They don't think about what comes after that. They just want the moment. We need Homelander Cody. Yes, when the time is right, you'll get Homelander Cody. I still don't think it's the right time for that. Retro says, how long before the title belts get sponsors? Don't give them any ideas. Project Libertad, I hate the WWE TNA partnership because I can't crap on the AEW New Japan partnership without an AEW fan bringing up the WWE one. I don't care about WWE and TNA. Thank you, Project Libertad. Dove's Vids, what do you call a Hungarian bug in your butt crack? A Budapest. Lewis, if they do a... Oh, boy, I sounded like RoboCop there, didn't I? Lewis! I don't know why that made me think of that. If they do a TNA invasion with NXT, could you see NXT invade Bound for Glory and have AJ be the mole as the story plays itself out? No, I can't. They're not doing that. You see, you've just put more thought into this than WWE would. There's a partnership there. There's talent that goes back and forth. To do like a full-blown injury angle, invasion angle like that, I don't see WWE going for it. I just don't see that happening. Yukio rules with the 30. Says, hey Solomonster, did you ever see the match with the Acolytes against Public Enemy where the Acolytes just destroyed them? I recently saw it and wondered what happened. As I recall, I think they were told to go out there and give them a beating, and that's what they did. Public Enemy did not have a lot of friends in WWE. That's why they did not last very long. Tama Tonga Superfan. How concerned should we be that Tama Tonga may not return in time to be seen as final opponent at the end of the year? I'm not very concerned at all. I'm not going to lose a moment of sleep over it. Holiday says, the fact that the main event is a street fight has me questioning if it will be a straight-faced finish between Cody and Cena. Could something eventful happen other than Cody winning the title back? Of course. That's what I'm worried about. Anything involving The Rock or Travis Scott or any of that bullshit is always a possibility. And I think that would be awful. Absolutely awful. You also can't ignore the possibility of a Money in the Bank cash-in. If everybody is expecting a cash-in, let's assume Seth is not hurt enough that he would be off the SummerSlam card, right? And I think he may be. He may be hurt enough where he can't make it back in time for that show. But if he does show up, people would expect that it would be after Punk and Gunther. And I still feel like when he cashes in, that's what it will be for. You want to really throw people a curveball, though. If Seth isn't that hurt, you have him cash in on Cody after Cody wins the belt back. And he cashes in for the WWE title. And now you've got an issue with him and Cody. I mean, there's history between the two of them. I'm not saying I would do it that way, but that would be sort of a curveball that you could throw at people. And you could explain it however which way you want to. I mean, there's always a way to explain it. But I don't see them doing that. Duff's Vids, what do you call a Hungarian bug in your butt crack? A booty pest. We're changing the punchline now. See that, but the thing is, like, that punchline was actually better than the Budapest. Booty pest actually makes more sense. Was that a typo, or did you just think of a better payoff to the joke? Reconson, 44 months of membership, turned 29 today. Had a good weekend, saw Batman Forever 30th anniversary in theaters. Watched Ace Ventura 2 and Mortal Kombat. You can say that I fell into a 1995 rabbit hole. Well, I hope not. Because then they would have had fucking TL Hopper and Duke the Dumpster and Mantar up on the big screen. Can't have any of that. Happy birthday, Rican son. I hope it's a good one. Tamatonga superfan. How pissed do you think Goldberg would be if Tamatonga and Cena have a longer build-up for Cena's final match than Goldberg did? Hopefully, he won't be near any windows when that happens for his sake. Oh, I thought you were going to say, how pissed would he be if Tamatonga gets more time on TV for his retirement speech than Goldberg did? Anobi. $7 super chat. Hey Solo, do you follow other wrestling channels on YouTube? Apparently, an old school wrestling gem channel is being threatened by WWE Vault to be taken down. I didn't hear about that. There are some that I follow. I think I've occasionally come across a channel that has some old wrestling, like in its original recording, commercials and all. And I'll probably like favorite them so I can come back to it. But there's none that I really go to on a regular basis, like in terms of wrestling, like footage, other than the vaults. I follow the WWE Vault, the WCW Vault. Beyond that, it's maybe a few spot channels here and there. Some of them have already been taken down. There's actually a channel that's great. I don't remember the name of it. WCW Deep Cuts, maybe. It's a channel where somebody has the old satellite feeds of Nitro and Thunder. It's not every episode, but somehow they were able to, well, they probably had satellite, but they have the original feeds. So if you can find it, it's very cool because it's before they go on the air. You hear the announcers, are on headset getting ready for the show. Mike Tenay and Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko. There's a few where they were filming backstage vignettes. There's one where they were filming in a hallway in Mean Gene. And again, it's all right there. It's like rare footage. And, they're all out of character. There's Bret Hart. There's Scott Hall. DDP. Go see if you can find that. That might be the coolest one that I follow. I just don't remember the actual name of the channel offhand. Cameron Spencer, I had a guy conversation with my coworkers and they called me weird because I said I like to stare at women while they sleep. Is that weird? Yes, it is. It's pretty weird. Sorry. But I still like you, Cameron. You're still cool with me. Duff's Vids, why are women's baseball games dangerous? Cause pitches be crazy. Should not have been as funny as it was. And Boots. I keep hearing heel Cody and Homelander in the same sentence. What is Homelander? I'll let other people explain it. It has to do with The Boys, right? That TV show, The Boys. I'll let somebody else explain it. I don't know. They all have these machinations about what heel Cody would look like. I don't know. I think they dream about it at night. Oh, man. Well, I did say that you guys hit the likes goal, which can only mean one thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
It is now time to be the Booker. Got a little over 3 minutes left on that secondary super chat goal. We're pretty far off from it, but there are 3 minutes left for double be the Booker. I'm assuming it's just going to be the one round tonight. So let's see if we can make it a good one. And we are starting with the women. Usually we start with the tags, but we're going to start with the women tonight. The women carried the show tonight in ring. They might do the same thing here and be the booker. Well, this is a great start. We got Meiko Satomura, the legend who retired earlier this year. Former, I believe, NXT UK Women's Champion, if I'm not mistaken. Meiko Satomura in Be the Booker is going to go one-on-one against Fuck. Meiko Satomura is tasked with getting into the ring with Rosa Mendez. And right off the bat, there will be no clean sweep in Be the Booker this week. Here on a Monday night. Very sad. Nothing I can do. Nothing Meiko could do. Nothing I can do. It is what it is. We have Tyson Kidd and D.H. Smith. Davey Boy Smith Jr. And there's Natty in their corner. It's like the new Hart Foundation. And they're going to be taking on the actual Hart Foundation. How about that? Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. The Hart Foundation against the new foundation. I like it. That's a little eerie that we landed on that, but I'll take it. Main event time. There he is, 1/3 of the Trios champions in TNA, in AEW. Powerhouse Hobbs. Yeah, I just realized looking at this, Hart Dynasty. I'm sorry, that's right. They did have a name, the Hart Dynasty. The Hart Dynasty against the Hart Foundation. But I'm looking at this image right now. What does this image remind you of? What does it look like he's doing in this image? I mean, it looks like he has just been irregular for like a week, and he's finally had a bowel movement. I mean, just look at the look on his face. Look at the veins popping out of his neck. Look at the vascularity. It looks like he's having a tough time here. Poor Powerhouse Hobbs. Needs more fiber in his diet. Be the Booker has been repossessed by the Repo Man. And that means that Be the Booker is officially over. Be the Booker has come to a very abrupt end. We have no main event. Well, it happens sometimes. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen someday. Don't blame me. Blame the Repo Man. Guy's a thief. He stole a main event from you people tonight. It's the way it goes. Like I said, nothing I can do. Solo behind on his Be the Booker bills again. Well, that guy is a thief. I'm paid up on my bills. Well, we might have another chance at it on Wednesday. Although it's the AEW stream, so who the hell knows? Maybe we won't. But that's when I'll be live again here on the channel. Wednesday night, Dynamite post show. Tomorrow night, I'll be on JD's channel for Tuesday Night Titans. Wednesday Dynamite, and then Friday night live after SmackDown. 2 hours of SmackDown, I say with a smile on my face. So I'll be here for all of it. Go back and check out the Slammiversary review if you did not see it. We had fun last night. It was a fun stream. I thought it was a fun show overall until the end. And episode 921 of the podcast as well went up yesterday. So if you missed that, Go check that out. You certainly have no shortage of content. I hope you enjoy it all. Leave some feedback for me. YouTube couldn't let me send a super chat to you, says Phil. If you're doing it on mobile, you try it on PC. Like next time, if you ever have any issues, because YouTube is very finicky that way. It could have to do with the platform you're using. Sometimes people can't do it on PC and they have to do it on mobile. Sometimes they do it on mobile. They can't do it on PC. I don't know, dude. YouTube is fucking weird. But I would try it the other way next time. You might have better luck that way. And we'll have to see. I don't know. You know, Nick Wayne's mom. That's still waiting. Still has not been broken in yet. We'll see what happens. Marquand says, I swear Rosa Mendez is laughing at you in that pic. She's laughing at all of us. Every time we land on her, she's laughing at all of us because she knows that the round has just been completely ruined. She's mocking us. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Have yourselves a great night. Stay cool. It's going to get hot again here in New York in the 90s later this week. And I'll see you back here Wednesday night for the Dynamite Post Show live on YouTube. Until then, take care, guys.